Hello, all. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. So, I was browsing through the community portal to see what kind of questions are being asked, and one kind of seems interesting to play around with. So, I thought, why don't let's record this also? So, the question is that two fields need to be created, like work description in sales order, as it is in sales order. In one field, we need to enter a string. When we enter the string in the first field, the second field string must filter and vowels must be shown in the second field. And we did something around this in one of the previous video, and let me pop that up. So if you remember what we did in the previous video, we did a kind of a replication of work description into purchase document. So this feature of work description is available in the sales document, and in this particular video we kind of have the similar behavior in the purchase order. So what we'll try to do to kind of answer that question, we'll try to extend the functionality that we built on the purchase order, and we would kind of create a new field so that the vowels can be stored. Now you might not need that, but if you are interested in understanding how you can extract vowels from the code from a string, then stay here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. So before we get started, as I do always, a humble request to subscribe to this channel. Based on YouTube analytics, it seems there are so many people who are watching it. Thank you for that. But there are very few who are subscribing to the channel. So if you're liking what you're seeing here, I would highly request you to subscribe to the channel. Okay, but let's get into it. So the code of what we did around the purchase work description is available in the GitHub repo. The link will be in the video for the source code. This code, because it is specific to one request and doesn't make sense to be part of the source control, I'll not add this part into the source control. Okay. So what we did in the purchase header, we created a field called SDH work description, and we'll just copy this and we'll create one more field here, and we'll call it this as work description. And then let's see what the question was so that we are doing it correctly, and we will take the vowels into it. Okay, so we'll create work description vowels, and then that becomes the description of it. Okay, now the same field was added into the posted tables, so we'll add it here in the invoice table as well as into the receipt table. Now while doing this, in the posted table we create the get work description. We'll just copy this as it is, paste it here, and create a similar function to get for description for vowels, and that will be done on this particular field. Okay, so I'm just copying and pasting the code so that the other blob field value can also be extracted. The similar field or function was added into the invoice, so we'll also copy and paste it here. So now the functions for the posted tables are kind of done. Let's move to the purchase header table, where we had a set work description, and we'll come to this in a while, but we also had a get work description. So we'll try to copy it as it is. Hopefully the function in this case has a return variable written, so we'll do that. The type helper in a stream, and then we do that. Okay, so we have the get part shorted. Okay, now before we work on the set work description, where we actually will write the logic of it, let's add things into the page also. So on the posted purchase invoice, we had one group. We'll just copy that group and paste it here. We'll again go back and take the word vowels from here, and just make sure that this get added in here in the caption. And as this is being extracted, this is not something that user will be able to modify, technically speaking. So let's do an editable as false for this field. Okay. Now this is get description text, which will also get the word vowel, and this will also get the vowels because we created that function, right? Now let's copy this group as it is and place it into the posted receipt page also as it is. So let's paste it. This also adds that field here with the editable false and things like that. And then last but not least is our purchase order page. In this, there's a little bit different than other pages because it also have a functionality to set it here. So if you look at it, the code remains same. The editable in this case will remain false because this is being calculated from the description, and everything else looks good, I guess. Yeah, this will also be editable false in this case. And then to get it, there was a logic of work description, so we'll remove the get part of it, or we can keep it, to be very frank. Yeah, let's keep it as it is. Yeah, I could have kept it like this. Okay. Okay, so let's keep it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we have done all the GUI related changes and all. Now let's come to the core of it, where we want it to kind of calculate the vowels from it and then store it into the new field. So when the set work description happens, so whenever you assign a value to that work description field, this method is called, which kind of converts and stores it into a blob using outstream and then writes it. Now before it modifies the purchase header, we would like to kind of first extract the vowels from it. So what we can do is we can kind of write extract vowels function. Okay. Okay, extract vowels, and then we'll pass the new work description because this is the text that user is entering. Now based on this function, what we'll try to do is we'll try to extract the value of whatever is assigned on the vowel and then put it into that new variable. Okay, so how we do that, let's understand it here. Okay, let me change this to input description. Okay, now the first thing that we'll have to do is we'll have to count how many uh, kind of characters into this, and for this we'll utilize the power of for loop. So let's build a variable for loop counter, and then for I, which is an, or not I, a typical developer variable I, but for loop counter from 1 to the string length, which will give me the length of the string, I want to do certain things. Now what I want to do, I first want to extract the first character into that string, and to do that I'll have to initialize or store it into a variable called single, let's say char of type character. Now we'll use the character data type to extract the value of that particular pointer at that point. So how we can do that, we can just do an input description of loop counter. So whatever the counter is, it'll pick that value of that character and store it into the single character. Now once we have the value into the single character, we just need to compare it to the valid values of the vowels, right? So what we can do, if the single character is in, okay, Copilot is helping me here to say A, E, I, O, U in small and A, E, I, O, U in capitals, then I need to kind of return this value. So let's do it here, and let's say the value that's going back is vowel text as of type text. So what I'll do is I'll just assign this to the whatever the value of this plus, let's say, in a space. Okay, you can use any symbol, whatever you want, to kind of do a separation or a differentiation between it. Let's say we'll use not an and operator, let's say a hyphen. Okay, in this case what will happen is that there will be a problem that the last character that prints will always end with this, because let's say the a comes, so a gets added to the additional string, which is nothing. So a plus this, and if the last value is p, then it'll say a, oh sorry, not p, u, it'll say a plus u, and then we'll also add this. So what do we need to make sure that we kind of had to add a condition here, that if this is blank, okay, then you need to add this, which is the value of it. And if it is not this, then we'll have to add the single character that is coming. Okay, so the vowel text adds vowel text plus single character. So the first time when it runs, and let's say the values that it found is AEI, so the first time it is empty, so it'll say a or sorry, blank plus a and this sign. Okay, if it is not empty, then what we need to do is okay, so let's think about it, or maybe let's keep it simple for this moment, and we'll see that if that becomes a problem. Okay, so we'll do this, and we have to kind of repeat this, the whole loop counter for all these steps. So I'll just copy all these steps and put it inside the for loop. Now we'll do for each character in this input description, it'll check if it is a vowel, and if it is a vowel, then it adds it to the vowel text, and then we get what we want out of it, right? If you don't want any separator between the vowels, just eliminate this, or let's say I'm just trying to add an empty space after each vowel. Okay, now this will return a list of vowels that are in part of it. And now what we need to do is just copy this, whatever we had here, and paste it here. Now instead of SDH work description, we will utilize the other field, or the new field that we have, which is the vowels field. And we will just keep assigning the values here. Now in this case, I'm not going to write the new work description into it. What I'm going to write is whatever comes out of this method. Okay, so what will happen? Whenever user will enter the value into the new work description, this will populate itself, and then while populating the another field, it'll call this method first, get the value out of it, and then write the text into it, which will internally call this function, extract all the vowels that are attached to it, and will get added into the purchase order screen, which is this screen. Okay, so we are good there. Let me open my client, if I can find that browser tab. Okay, here it is, and let's publish this. Okay, let's do a F5, which then should get published into this environment. Now the thing that here to learn is that how you kind of extract and what is the utilization of a char versus a string data type that you have, and how you can do a similar thing if you have to extract some other kind of patterns from your text. Now is there a better way? Maybe. I'm not, maybe I haven't thought about it yet, but if you know a better way, do let me know into the comment section about it, and then maybe I'll change the video, or maybe create a new video about it if needed. So let's get into it. Let's go purchase order and try to see what happens. Okay, so let's pick this. Okay, and we'll do the same thing that we did. Okay, so here we have the work description, which is an editable field. This is a demo text to verify that vowels are separated. I don't know how many vowels are there, but I surely did a mistake here. So let's do the correction on it and let's see what changes. Okay, so it did break the vowel I, which is the first vowel here on this screen, I, and then the other one is I, A, and D, and things like that. Let's do a caps on. So let's change this E to the bigger letter and it updates it here. Now here, let's try to do a quantity to receive as 1 and okay, and let's try to post this. Now I don't think that there is a warehouse posting policy, but it says, oh, I'm missing the vendor invoice number. Okay, where is that? Okay, E11. Let's do a posting of this to see what happens. Now, if everything is written correctly, it should go and store into the posted document that were created out of it. Let's have a look. Okay, let's look at receipt. Let's open this and we see the work description, but we don't see the work description vowel. Oh, okay, because we missed one thing. In the code unit, if you remember, we did the work description calculation. We also will have to do the vowels field calculation because it's a blob field. Now, once we do that, it'll automatically pass itself to the invoice and the receipt that we're creating out of it. So keep an kind of idea of what you're doing and where you're missing things. But now if it gets published, it will get published, we'll be able to see how we can kind of even see that results into the posted document when we kind of pass a text. So I'll just copy this text as it is and we'll try to post one more time to see what happens with this. Okay, let's wait for it. Purchasing orders, and here we are. I guess this is one. Okay, so let's, and there is already value, so let's change the quantity to be 1 and try this again. Okay, the vendor invoice number need to be changed and let's post it. Now this time we have changed the code and make sure that the calculation happens during the posting happens. So what you can see here on the receipt, now on the latest one, that now we'll have values for both the fields, the work description and the work description vowel, and the similar behavior should be available if I go to the invoices and look at the latest one. We'll see that the value of work description and work description vowels is available. Now that was just trying to answer that question. Hopefully you learned something out of it, of understanding how you can kind of extract a certain kind of text or characters from a string. If you did that, hit the like button. If you think this is something that others will enjoy, share it on your social media accounts. And if you haven't, as I said in the beginning, do subscribe to the channel. I'll see you sooner than later on another video if I get another question. And till then, keep learning and keep sharing whatever you're learning with your friends, colleagues, and the community. I'll see you soon. Thank you.